Now pay attention, 007. I've always tried to teach you two things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever everyone may be. This is Christopher Morales, That One Bond Guy. Today, I'm having another awesome episode of That One Bond Guy Meets, and we got something really special. Not just one person, he's part of a group. You guys may have heard of them, may have not. They are known as
the 00 Files.
All right. So, I have Martin from the 00 Files today. I'm super excited to be able to sit down and talk to you. Kind of just give everyone a little bit of background of who you are and how the whole 00 Files began.
Well, it's a bit of a long and a bit of a complicated story. I'm going to try and size it into one episode. For the people who don't know us, the 00 Files were four Dutch Bond aficionados. And we all got together because one of us, Don, the one who also does most of the interviews and all that stuff, Anthony, Tyler, and me were at a Dutch website. They didn't do anything with podcasts or whatsoever. And Don, I have to say this correctly, 2018, early 2018, he reached out to that site, would you guys be interested in doing a podcast about 10 Years of Quantum of Solace? Because he really likes that movie. So Anthony, Tyler, and me said, yeah, sure, why not? Let's try it. So that we did one. We all thought, this is fun. It's good to be able to talk about a film for 1.5, 2 hours with some people. So we decided to do another one, and then another one, and another, and now we kept going. You get to know each other, you get to know your talking points, your viewing points, and then after about a year-ish, we started thinking, we've been doing this in Dutch, so the people who listen to it are Dutch, or 98% of them are. And we've been trying, what if you do it in English? You can multiply our audience by times 1,000. You get people worldwide listening in. But the website we were at was very strictly Dutch. They said as part of their identity of a website, they wanted to remain in Dutch. So that was a bit of an issue, and we've been thinking about it. And then one night we just got together and we just did one podcast in English and see how it worked out. And we all very much liked it. So we sat together. We were like, if we want to do this, we got to start ourselves. We don't have a platform, don't have a website we can share anymore, we can use. So we had a brainstorming session about names, about logos, about all of that. And then we did the introduction podcast that same evening. Because the first one we did, I have to say this correctly, was Diamonds Are Forever. Out of the top of my head, and we didn't actually have an intro or a name yet when we recorded that one, so that was fun. That was the 00 Files as a website went online in late 2018 or late 2019. Late 2018, December, I think. We had our 1 year anniversary, and now I'm here sitting talking to you.
Very nice. Yeah,
it's a long story, but
I love it. This is all about getting to know everyone in the community, bringing them on, and just for me getting to put a name to a face, and
mm-hmm.
This is very awesome for you to be able to talk to, because I remember coming upon you guys' podcast because I was really in need of something from a different perspective. I've been listening to Joe Darlington's being James Bond for so many years, and then there's other ones out there like the Bond Brain and things like that. But I really wanted some new perspective, and I wanted something, to be able to listen to on my commute to school or commute to work, whenever it may be. And I found something, and it was called the 00 Files. I was like, oh, interesting. And I love the fact that your logo is so cool. I absolutely love how you incorporated the 00 part, because everyone's Bond this, Bond that, or you're something in that realm. But when you add the 00, it kind of separates you from the whole group, which is super cool. Yeah, man. I mean, we have a movie coming up, and
we do.
excited about it. And
Finally, yeah.
I know after 5 years since Spectre, man, I'm looking forward to it with everything that's happened with the film. What are some things you're super excited about and super excited about covering?
Well, I don't know. It's very difficult in the way that I've been these past three films. I've all three taken a different approach. For Skyfall, some of it was spoiled by people who don't know how to use spoiler tags on forums, but that was still a time I was on the forums 24/7. I wanted to see every inch, every behind the scenes photo, everything. So that was like part of the fun was the pre-fun, seeing everything come together and figuring out all the pieces. But yeah, there were some parts of Skyfall. I was sitting like in the theater and I was thinking, oh, is it done? I'm like, no way, it isn't, because we still have to have that and that scene. So that took a bit of the surprise out of it. So for Spectre, I took the complete opposite direction, and I just watched the official trailers, and that's it. I didn't listen to the song up front. I didn't do anything, just what was given to me officially. So that was I went to premiere night, and I saw that, and I really liked that one. So I'm sort of in a hybrid between the two. I mean, in this day and age, you really can't open any website, or you can't even open your phone without seeing something, especially now that you're doing a podcast about Bond. So you got Bond people everywhere messaging you, and on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. So, but yeah, I try to filter, and luckily a lot of people are like, there are spoilers behind this point, so you know when to click away. And one other thing I really love about No Time to Die in itself is that we're 5-6 weeks away from release and we hardly know anything. And I love that we don't know, like we have so much footage, so much TV shots and promos and trailers, but no idea what's happening, who's doing what, and it's great.
Yeah, and I completely agree. After this interview here, I'm going to be filming a fashion video regarding the Matera love scene. I think James Bond lifestyle.com has the pictures up of everything, and I basically want to recreate that outfit by going the cheaper route or going to a place that you can find clothes that are similar. And I only bring that up because even some of the clothes that you see on Bond, are still unidentified. It's to that point where a lot of people are still being cautious, and there's still a lot of things being kept behind the curtain, which I think is super exciting because we'll have that huge surprise come the premiere night or premiere day. And I can't, it just, with the whole story behind how this film was created, from its ups and its downs, from its original release dates, from, it being pushed back, I think we're going to thoroughly enjoy the finished product. It's, what we expected or not expected, because I think from a fan standpoint, we've been so connected to this movie because we've had it to go through the process so emotionally,
Yeah, I think one thing that's really different is that with Skyfall, you had this whole new team. You had Sam Mendes, who was very critically acclaimed, and people loved that he was on board. You had Roger Deakins, and you had Adele, and everyone was so excited. It's the 50th anniversary. Everyone is so hyped. And some people are probably going to hate me for saying this, but I had this discussion with some other people as well. And with like the same team, with Sam Mendes returning again, with another acclaimed singer returning for someone, it kind of felt like autopilot. They were like, we have this great director, we have this great cast, so it will probably be okay, whatever. So I really feel that, that it was, well, not disappointing. I mean, it still did great at the box office, but it wasn't as good as they hoped it would be. So I think with this one, they really, and especially since they're really hammering down the point that it is going to be Daniel's last, everyone's throwing everything in it again. And it shows in interviews, and everyone's so excited and very proud of what they've done.
Right. Yeah. So. It is true. It's the end of Daniel Craig's era, which kind of leads me into kind of a fun question to ask you personally. What era of Bond actors do you connect with the most and is your favorite?
Well, connect with the most is Daniel Craig, of course. I mean, the first one I saw in theaters was Die Another Day with my dad in January 2003, because it came out a bit later here. So I was still on that one. I had like the toy Aston Martin with the rockets and all that stuff. And then you grow up and there's no Bond movies. You had the video games to keep me occupied. So I was very much everything I could do with Bond was with Pierce Brosnan's likeness on it in some way, shape, or form. And then all of a sudden Daniel Craig came around, and I remember seeing like the first picture with the longer hair, and then I wasn't really convinced on the short stubble. I'm like, I don't know. And then I remember seeing the first trailer, which was leaked like a week in front, in like German or French or something like that. And seeing that, I'm like, holy crap, this is unlike anything we've ever seen before. So, well, he was. I've been to Quantum of Solace with some friends, which came out on my birthday. So it's really like through my high school and education, it was Daniel Craig was my Bond. So he's like the first one I've actually. This is going to be the first transition I fully see from one full tenure to another one. So I'm a bit sad to see him go, but yeah, well,
right.
From 26.
Yeah, and I can
long enough.
Bond. Daniel's Bond. It was one that I grew up with too. I mean, going through high school and seeing everything, and like going through the things that you go through high school, and you have that fantasy person you connect with the most, and obviously when it comes to James Bond and my fandom for it's Daniel Craig. I mean, I'll have my favorites, and especially going back and watching the movies thousands of times. But Daniel Craig is always going to be there because it was happening in that moment. We were there to see it all happen. We were there to see the previews and the trailers and stuff, and
all really, the gossip as well.
Oh yeah.
Back in Casino Royale, the fact that he had 2 teeth knocked out and that he couldn't drive manual and all that. It's just it feels like so long ago. Like it's all the stuff that people tried. This guy isn't Bond. It's never gonna work. It's all different. And then
I know
it came.
It's crazy to think about. Casino Royale came out, and I was shoot. It came out 2006, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was either, depending on, forget which month it came out, but if it was towards the end of the year, I was 6, but if it was the beginning of the year, I was 5. So that's kind of put things in perspective. So Casino Royale, me, kind of, I watched it, as I got older, but it wasn't until, Quantum and then Skyfall that I was able to actually watch it in theaters and all, because I was rather young when Casino and Daniel Craig's era first started. But nevertheless, I got hooked and I watched them all, and I started all the way from the beginning with Dr. No, and then here we are. I mean, it's been a crazy ride, and the community has just been so awesome. Everyone is so incredibly nice, so incredibly knowledgeable. They're always there to support you. And if it wasn't for certain people in the community, I wouldn't have, my logo, or I wouldn't have my intros or outros, and they're just so cool. And
definitely, yeah.
That kind of leads into my next question to, like, what are your favorite aspects about the community that, just draws you to it?
I think the one thing, and it's not really as much a favorite as it is the thing that positively surprised me the most, is that when you start up something new for yourself in this case, in Bond, you've had Joe, who's been there when I was still in diapers, and you have David Zaritsky, who was still on the forums. Now I still knew him by his old name. Calvin Dyson, who's been making videos for years, and all these people, and you're like, these are, for you and me, these are big names out there. And I was really expecting, are we going to be able to get our, hypothetical foot in the door? And I was expecting, to be easy and not try to tread on anyone's toes and all that stuff. And instead, I made the, now if I can compare it to something, it's like, you walking into a bar and it's completely crowded, like every seat's taken. And then you see this table of like the Bond people. They all scooch over, but come on in, have a seat. We're, good to have you here. That's something that I really am thoroughly surprised with, is the amount of positive feedback and the way that everyone loves when there's another channel coming up or another podcast or another website. Everyone's so welcoming to enjoy this mutual hobby. It's just very good.
I love it. I love it. I love that
Yeah.
analogy that you made. That's absolutely perfect because it just does capture the essence of how everyone is, and I feel exactly the same, or I felt rather exactly the same how you did when it comes to should I put my foot into the door? Should I throw my own hat in the ring? Because what if I get rejected and people think, oh God, it's just another
Hmm.
account wanted to post the same thing we're gonna post. We've been doing this for 13 odd years, and then this new person comes.
Hmm.
No, but they're so welcoming. They're, I don't know if you've seen any of my past videos, like we're doing now, but the one with
Hmm.
Zaritsky really, really helped me put in perspective what I wanted to do with this. Because prior to his video, I was just going off the fact that I was doing interviews with everybody, talking to people around the world. I thought that was super cool.
Hmm.
Just had 30 minutes or so of just talking James Bond. But no, he sat down and he said, you're a younger guy, you're going to college, you live in California, those are some key things that you can use. And then it just clicked for me when he said that. And so now my whole thing is that I may not be able to have all the fancy clothes or the fancy cars or go to all the locations whenever I want, but I can do that in the future and I can bring you guys along with me as I get there in my journey. And I thought that
Yeah,
was a
exactly.
cool thing.
Yeah.
I know sometimes it's kind of hard for content when there's like a lull and there's not a lot there, but then, something pops up and it's just going to be very fun and exciting, being able to be with you guys and seeing different accounts and different podcasts like yourself grow as well, which I'm excited for. So my turn to shut up finally and just ask, what's the future? What's the future for Double O Files? I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, well, that's a hard question. I mean, if you look at the things we've done, we started with the movie reviews, and then Don and Tyler really are into the books. We all have our own niche, so to speak. So they do like one or maybe two book reviews a year. Don's interviewing people. He made some location videos. There's all different kinds of stuff. We're like, there's only 25 movies, so you can only do 25 movie podcasts.
Hmm.
So in order to make sure that we had more content than just 25 months, we started to do some odd ones out. We did the Icarus file a couple of months back. Just taking some odd shortcuts out of here, some movies which have either like a main cast as from Bond, or the same era from Bond, or the same kind of movie
Hmm.
the Bond movies are. There's still some things in the pipeline that I can't really tell when or if they'll ever come to full fruition. But we're still building and still really trying to make a name for yourself by just being entertaining and doing what you do. And I hope that people like it. And so far, most of the comments have been very well. So
Yeah, and
people are
great.
getting hurt. So.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was getting well, the fact that you reached out to us. I'm like, we always saw each other as well, we saw like the four of us saw ourselves as just another one of the many. We do what we do, but and when you hear people say, yeah, I always like, that's awesome to hear people saying that you're part of their commute and stuff like that. But to be on the receiving end of an interview instead of the one being like taking an interview, that's a nice change. Not a place I think I would have been at this stage. Now, as I said, we're barely online for like a year and a couple of months. So.
Mhm. Yeah, and when I discovered you guys, I was like, man, this is super cool because a lot of the things you guys were talking about, I completely agreed with. Whether it's some of the topics on Man Talk or certain things like that, I love that. Kind of like my
Yeah.
pleasure. You guys are unfiltered. You guys talk about it all, and I loved it. Now, would I let my mom or my dad hear that podcast? No, but it's for me. I absolutely love it. I mean, maybe they're into it. I don't know, but I love it. And the great thing about providing content for something that you really love is like it's always going to be a labor of love. You never feel like you are
Definitely, yeah.
not enjoying it. You always want to do something, and even if it's something that you're not too sure about, you're like, what the heck? What the worst thing that can happen is no one's gonna see it, but it's always
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, so I mean, just keep plugging away, and I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with in the
Yeah.
future for sure.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things you said. Having the four of us, that's always some fireworks. I mean, we grade our films from 1 to 10. And everyone has to have at least one, 1, and 110. In order to stop everyone from just having a list full of like 6s and 7s,
Yeah.
because that would get boring. And I think we've already established that I'm like the Double O Files chairman of the Roger Moore fan club.
Nice.
So there's me, and then there's Don and Anthony, who are really into the 60s Bond, and Anthony loves Sean Connery, and he loves Thunderball, and I really think it's quite crap. So, when you have a podcast, it's somewhere like, oh, I love this scene. I'm like, no, it's horrible. And then Don comes out like, who are you? Why don't you like this?
Right.
And the chemistry and the fact that you have such wildly varying opinions, that's the whole thing that makes it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, not that you want to, how do you say this? It's not so much, me wanting to let someone, you have to agree with me or your opinion is the wrong one. We're just trying to see where everyone's coming from, and yeah, well, the whole fact of just discussing something you all love and you've all seen and you have such wildly varying opinions on, it's just it's just great fun. And I'm saying that as the one who has it by far the easiest of the four of us, because I as of now just do some social media and the movie reviews. But then you have Don and Tyler who do the book reviews, and Tyler is starting to do some editing. Anthony's starting to do some editing, and Don is our godfather of sound mixing and editing and uploading, because he puts so much time into it. So he really does deserve the shout out, and really does deserve the credit, because he's the one that makes it all stick and makes it all sound good and rounded. And to have someone with that skill and that passion for editing and sound is a big help in being successful and sounding good.
And now, did you guys all friends through school, or how did you guys,
No, completely random, right up until the first podcast. Yeah.
It's funny. That's amazing.
Because I met Anthony once before, because he actually wrote a book about Bond in Dutch. So we went to like his book signing, and then he later joined up with the website I was with. Tyler came to that website like on his own as well. So I'd seen them both once or twice before, like a writers' meeting and stuff like that. And then Don just came out of nowhere, like, I'm a Bond fan. I have some mics. Would you like you guys from the website? Are any of you interested in making a podcast? And 3 of us said yes, and it all went from there. So.
That's great. And I understand the whole random meeting part, because for a while when I first started that one Bond guy, I was the only one here on this side of the United States, and not a lot of people are, at least they weren't coming out then, but since being on, I've met some really cool people that are on the West Coast. James aficionado, him and I are possibly thinking about collabing for events in the future. I know summer's coming up. Want to do some cool movie theme events. I know for me, I want to get the community together here at least, and have like a James Bond movie under the stars type of thing, popcorn, martinis, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, we want to do events over here, because a lot of the events that you do see are, you have, Mr. Zaritsky and Joe Darlington and all those guys are on the East Coast, and they have their thing over there. And also in London, you have Peter Brooker, shoots, Taylors from Love. And so we want to have a presence over here, so eventually we'll all be able to come together. And I think that'd be super cool to host an event. California in the summer is one of the most beautiful places, and where I live specifically, Sacramento, is a great mixture of a big city and then like a small rural area. So you've got a great mixture of places to go, and it's a very Bondy type of downtown old Sacramento place. You know, you could definitely feel like you're in a film there. But I'd love to open up the doors over here for everybody. So we'll see. We'll just have to see what the future holds. Very exciting times.
Indeed, they are. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So where can everyone find you? I know obviously you have a podcast, you have the website. Just let us know where everyone can find you, and I'll link them into the description below.
Yeah, well, apart from our website, just 00files.com, most of our stuff is just on pretty much every, the big networks, the big, Stitcher and all the big podcast apps and websites. We do a lot of tournaments on Twitter, because 3 of the 4 of us are on the official, official, look who's talking, but are on the 00 Files channel. Doing some quizzes, doing some random stuff. Sometimes we're doing some giveaways. I do some on Instagram as well. And I'm now starting to slowly upload our back catalog on YouTube. It's a bit of, it takes a bit longer than I want it to, because, you have some songs, you have some copyrights and all that stuff.
Right.
So, I'm just figuring out how to do that. And, you don't want to cut out half your podcast, but you also don't want to, have any kind of infringement. So, but yeah, the plan is to make it all run smoothly. Not everyone has a podcast app on their phone. So we'll be on YouTube as soon as we figure everything out.
Perfect.
With our podcast, and who knows what your future might bring. We have a whole list full of ideas for the upcoming months and weeks for podcasts and stuff. And one other thing is, we don't actually have a very set schedule. Like you do this and I do that and Tyler does that. It's like, if you feel like you really can bring some of your enthusiasm about a subject and bring it into a video or an article or a podcast or whatever, go for it, and we'll see if it works. Like I'm brainstorming about a sort of a tailoring episode with Tyler, because him and me are both more towards the fashions and the suits and ties and gloves and watches and whatnot. There's something I want to do with some other people in the James Bond community, but I can't say anything about that yet because I'm still in contact with them. So,
nice.
There's exciting stuff coming up, and of course, No Time to Die in a couple of weeks. We actually get it, I think, a week earlier than you guys in the US do.
Yeah.
So
very lucky.
So that's very exciting. Yeah, we're gonna go and watch it the very first time we can all get a day off. We're gonna watch the 4 of us and then do a first reaction podcast. So really looking forward to that one.
Yeah. So no spoilers, please. No spoilers.
No. No.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much again. Love the cup.
That's one of the gifts. So.
That's awesome. Thank you for the time again. It was such a pleasure. It was such a thrill to be able to sit down and get the insight of the 00 Files. I wish you all good luck in the future, and I can't wait to see where it goes, and I'd love to be able to get in contact with everyone again, and maybe we can do a little something. So
sure. No, Thank you for having me, and for being such a generous host.
Yeah,
we'll see what the future brings. I'm very excited to looking forward how your whole James Bond on the other side of the US is going to turn out.
Thank you. And everyone, like I said a few minutes ago, I will go ahead and link all the websites and all, the podcast in the description below. So please go check it out. Follow them on Instagram, Twitter, wherever it may be. And like I've always said, everyone, let's continue the journey into the next video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning. This is Christopher Morales, That One Bond Guy, and this was the 00 Files meeting on That One Bond Guy Meets. Take care, everyone.